Right in front of me is the LeafLock system. So LeafLock was covered up yesterday, and it remains pretty well covered up today. This is Jonathan with GutterGuards Direct. It is November 1st, Sunday. I am back up on the ladder. I was actually up here yesterday. I shot a video of the systems and how they were performing. And when I got down to check it later yesterday evening, I realized that instead of hitting the start button, I apparently didn't hit the start button, and the MasterShield system that I had filmed on the south side of the garage did not appear on film. Just all my activity moving up and down the ladder appeared on film. So I didn't think it was fair to leave the MasterShield system out, and I came back up here this morning. Now what's interesting is it's super windy out right now, and you'll probably hear that in the quality of the audio. So when I looked out the window this morning from my bedroom out towards the garage, what I noticed was all the gutter guards that had leaves sitting on top of them yesterday on the south side of the garage, all those leaves had blown off. So this is, I guess, the beauty of this type of system with the micro mesh, is that you can have something sitting on it today that's somewhat wet. As things dry up and the wind kicks up a little bit, then that breeze ushers that stuff off the top of the gutter guard surface. So the environment is a lot different than it was yesterday, as a matter of fact. So I'll take a couple minutes just to show you the MasterShield. Now clearly it's a little bit different than it was yesterday, but ostensibly it's the same as it was yesterday, whereas the other systems are completely different than they were yesterday. So stay tuned, and I'll show you a little bit here on the south side of the garage. I'll go over to the north side as well. I just looked at it from the ground up, and it didn't look like it was dramatically different than it was yesterday, but I'll take a second look at that and decide, and if so, then I'll include that in this video as well. We're looking at MasterShield on the south side of the garage. It is now it is November 1st, 2020. I was up here yesterday, October 31st, Halloween, and this is pretty much how the gutter guard looked like. In fairness, there were a few more pine needles sitting up here, but by and large the system was very free and clear to take in the water. The face of the gutter remains clean, remains very clean, in fact. Pretty much nothing sitting other than really minute specks on the face of this gutter. And then on the underside, it also is very clean. So this system, because it sits up at an angle, and it sits up at a pretty decent angle, and the screen is really fine on the MasterShield system, it seems that every time leaves and debris come down off the roof, they just keep falling off this system. And that's what was here yesterday. It's a little bit improved today because, as I said, the winds really picked up last night and helped usher the leaves and debris off of not only what was up on this system, which wasn't much, but also the other systems, which were really inundated with the leaves and pine needles. Here we're looking at the GutterGlove Pro system on the south side of the garage. When I was up here yesterday, I would say probably 60 to 70% of the screen was covered up, maybe 50 to 60% of the screen. Today you can see that there's ostensibly nothing up here. When I climbed up the ladder, this leaf stem system off the locust tree came off the roof and landed on top of here. But I fully expect that just to blow off the top. You can see a little bit of dirt residue, some of the grime off the roof sitting up here, and that should just wash off the next time it rains. But at the moment, the GutterGlove Pro system only has this one branch with the leaves up here. Otherwise, it is free and clear to take in the water. This is LeafLock on the south side of the garage on Sunday, November 1st, 2020. As I pan across the screen here, You can see a little bit of debris just hanging out at the very right-hand corner of this system and the left-hand corner of the next system, the diamond pattern screen. But as you pan across the screen, you can see just a little bit of debris that's hanging out up here, but by and large, that debris has disappeared off the surface. And yesterday when I was up here, this thing was completely encapsulated in leaves and pine needles. I mean, just it was caked on there. And today you can see it's a completely different animal. So what we do have up here, what we do have remaining, are a few leaves, some of which are just kind of hanging on the screen between the transition there at the screen and the metal at the front lip of the gutter and the gutter guard system, and a handful of pine needles. This pine needle is just kind of wedged between the roof and the gutter guard system. My sense is if it wasn't wedged in that broken shingle there, that it wouldn't even be sitting there. Then we do have a pine needle that has lodged itself in vertically to the screen, and we have this little batch of stuff off here to the right. So by and large, the screen here is free and clear, available to take in the water. And whereas yesterday this thing was completely encapsulated in leaves and pine needles, today it's pretty free and clear. This is LeafFilter on the south side of the garage on Sunday, November 1st. When I was up here yesterday, there was a whole lot more debris sitting on top of this system than there is right now. So it was pretty much covered. I think there was just a small area here in the middle where you could see some of the screen underneath it, but the debris had pretty much packed on top of this system. There was also debris sitting up at the roof level there, and I had commented it'd be interesting to see what happens if that debris just kind of rolls down and lands on top of the gutter guard, or if it blows off. So little did I know that the winds were going to pick up last night and drive so much of that stuff off of the roof and off the gutter guard surface. So now we can see that there's some screen available here on the right side. It's still pretty covered up in the middle, and then as you get over to the left, it opens up a little bit more. But still, this system at this point today has the most stuff on it. Here we're looking at the LeaFree system. When I was up here yesterday, the cover of the gutter guard was pretty free and clear. There were a few random leaves sitting up on top of there and maybe a pine needle or two. But what I spent most of my time talking about was the opening of the gutter guard and how stuff was getting wedged inside of it when it rains and draws that debris into the gutter. So if you look at it today, it's a little bit clearer than it was yesterday. So that means because it didn't rain yesterday, it was actually sunny and quite pleasant out, not as windy as it is today, that the winds that picked up last night not only took the stuff, any of the remaining stuff that was sitting on top of the gutter guard and blew that off, but it also sucked some of the debris. Well, it either sucked it out or pushed it inside the gutter guard, not sure which at this point. But you can see the opening of the gutter guard system is a little bit improved from what it was yesterday. Here we're looking at the diamond mesh system from the folks that make Valor. This system yesterday was really covered up with leaves and debris. If I recall, there were some spaces where you could actually see the diamond screen underneath it. Today, we still have some debris that is sitting up here. So if I just back up a second to the left here, we're looking at the LeafLock on the left and the diamond screen on the right. So we've got a little bit that kind of sits here between the transition of those two systems. And then as we come across, you can see more debris that's just sitting on top of this system. So we have some of the locust leaves and some pine needles off the tree here behind the garage. And then as we come across, we actually do have more pine needles that are sitting either horizontally, and a few of those are vertically situated inside there. So here comes a leaf now. I don't know if it's going to come off the roof or not. See where that would go. But by and large, this is a big improvement over yesterday. Not quite as dramatic as some of the other systems, but you can see here with that screen system just the extent to which stuff is still sitting on top of it. I'm on the north side of the garage. I just took a look at what was going on the south side of the garage, and the gutter guards had changed completely. So the leaves and debris that had been sitting up there yesterday, kind of like what we see here on the north side of the garage, had all blown off. So it goes to show you what a difference 20 odd feet makes on the same structure. So on the south side of the garage, everything has mostly blown off. On the north side of the garage, it looks a lot like it did yesterday. So I just wanted to climb up here and give you kind of a quick peek to show you that not much has changed over here. I did point up onto the roof a little bit yesterday, and what I do see here, whereas the south side of the roof was pretty free and clear, most of that stuff had blown off of it. Here on the north side, that's not necessarily the case. We still have a lot of pine needles. Looks like they're kind of shifting their way down, and in particular, there's a couple clumps over there to the right, middle part of the roof, that were more evenly distributed yesterday. So that stuff is working its way down and heading down towards the MasterShield gutter guard on the far end. But you can see the MasterShield over there, and that thing is basically free and clear. Looks pretty much like it did yesterday. A little bit of debris off to the left corner of it. Next to that, coming towards me at the camera here with a bunch of stuff sitting on top of it, is LeafFilter. Then we've got leaf solution right here with this brown edge in front of me. You can see some of the screen is available as it was yesterday, and some of the debris is still sitting up kind of at roof level and overhanging onto the gutter guard itself. Right in front of me is the LeafLock system. So LeafLock was covered up yesterday, and it remains pretty well covered up today. If we come over a little bit farther, we then have the GutterGlove Easy-on leaf blaster system, and that actually may be a little bit more covered up than it was yesterday, because I suspect some of these pine needles with this wind have just blown off the roof. And then the far one is the clean mesh system from Semco, and that looks pretty much like it did yesterday. So on the north side of the garage, the gutters are a lot more similar to what you'll see in the other video from yesterday, whereas on the south side of the garage, most of those systems look completely different than they looked yesterday. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe buttons and ding the bell, and you'll be notified the next time we upload a video. Now, it's not quite as bad as it was last week. There was a whole lot more stuff sitting on it. You can see some of the screen at this point, but there is some new activity over here to the right.